fascinating moves. It's moving safety and content moderation teams from California to Texas and ultimately relying on its user base now.
It is very fascinating, and obviously, as you said, it further aligns Meta to the X approach of content moderation and fact-checking, which is to sort of crowdsource. One cannot ignore the underlying trend here. It's clear that over the past several months, Mark Zuckerberg has tried to repair, if you will, his relationship with incoming President Donald Trump. That has been a relationship that has in the past been fairly adversarial. I don't need to remind you that at one point Trump was suspended on Meta's platforms briefly and has since been reinstated. And since then, Zuckerberg has personally contributed to his inauguration fund and has made efforts, as you have said, to make appointments that would be more conducive to a relationship with the Trump administration coming in.
I mean, it's interesting that this was basically the first announcement coming from Joel Kaplan, who is now the Chief Global Affairs Officer as Nick Clegg moved stage right. And we're not only getting a more right-leaning Global Affairs Officer, but we're also getting Dana White, UFC, coming to the board of Meta.
That's right. And as you probably recall, Dana White was a very vocal Trump supporter. He was actually featured in Trump's first video on TikTok, another social media platform. So a good fit because, you know, Dana White and Mark Zuckerberg have a pre-existing relationship. They have been friends for a long time, right? They share a very strong interest in the same sport. So in a lot of ways, it makes sense for Mark and for what he's trying to do with that relationship with Trump. I think that migration for the fact-checking team from California to Texas, as you mentioned, is a really interesting one, too. Whether that's politically motivated, I don't personally know. And I think that the bigger question is, like, will there be a broader pullback at Meta and some of the other social media platforms with this incoming Trump administration across all content moderation, not necessarily just fact-checking, but, you know, will there be a pullback in, like, the monitoring of disturbing content, CSAM content? I think that's the broader question to ask.